Have you ever felt stuck? Caught between hope for the future and fear that nothing will ever change. In a world that's divided by distrust and disconnection, it's easy to shut down, to feel like your voice doesn't matter. But what if the way forward isn't through more outrage, but through imagination? In this episode of Terrified Nation, we talk with Steven Olikara, a visionary leader who believes that building a better future starts with daring to dream it. From soulful conversations to cultural change, Steven invites us to reimagine what's possible in our politics, our communities, and ourselves. Join us for the interview with Steven Olikara. It's coming up next because hope isn't naive, it is necessary.
If you've ever felt fear, doubt, or despair about the future of our country, you're not alone. Terrified Nation is a podcast for those ready to face hard truths with open hearts. Hosted by Debilyn Molineaux, each episode explores how we can move beyond division and build a society rooted in care, courage, and connection. If this resonates with you, hit follow and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Now here's your host, Debilyn Molineaux.
Welcome to Terrified Nation. I'm your host, Debilyn Molineaux, and we're diving into the big emotions of fear, anger, despair, and learning how to manage them so that we don't get stuck in survival mode. And it starts by asking ourselves, now what? And we interview guests who have gone from being afraid or angry or feeling hopeless to become advocates for our nation, to live into the promise of our founders, each one of us dedicating ourselves to a better future. So today we are talking with Steven Olikara of Bridge Entertainment Labs about his preferred future. And this imagining that we're going to do is an antidote to being afraid or angry because it gives us something to hope for. Today's question is, when you consume entertainment, what are the themes that you're feeding yourself? So Steven Olikara is a nationally recognized changemaker, an entrepreneur, and speaker who works at this intersection of media, politics, and culture. He serves as the founding president of Bridge Entertainment Labs, who's dedicated to harnessing the power of entertainment to transform the divisions in America and create a healthier democracy. He also serves as a senior fellow for political transformation at USC, the Schwarzenegger Institute. You may have heard of that guy. And he founded the Future Caucus, which was formerly known as the Millennial Action Project, which is the largest cross-partisan organization of young elected officials in the United States. Steven serves on numerous boards and commissions focused on causes that he is passionate about, including human rights, democracy, national service, and the performing arts. He is a proud Wisconsin native, and he graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison as a Truman Scholar. So welcome to the show, Steven Olikara.
Well, thank you, Debilyn. I'm honored to be here. Thank you for bringing some light and hope into our national discourse. I'm very grateful for that.
Oh, we need so much these days, and I'm so thrilled to talk with you about your preferred future because I think we'll find some hope together.
Great. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So Steven, for you, and to remind our listeners, you're actually about to participate in a research project about a future we want for ourselves. And as we go through the interview, this is about your preferred future, not what you think is likely or possible, right? So as you see your preferred future, go for it. Now I suggest somewhere between 2 and 20 years in the future. How far into your future do you want to look?
That's a good question. Let's go with 10 years.
10 years. Okay. So we're going to get into this handy dandy Zoom time machine that I've arranged for us. And we are going to set the dial for 2035. And take a few deep breaths as we whip along. Now, when we get there, you are going to observe your older self. So you're going to be yourself, but observing yourself 10 years from now. and then respond to the prompts. You ready? We're
Ready.
pulling into the 2035 station and ding, we've arrived. Here we are. So as we climb out of our Zoom time machine, where are we?
We are on the move. I really enjoy having changes of perspective, and there are three places in particular that have resonated with my heart and my mission. And that definitely starts with Wisconsin, where I grew up and my family is there. And I feel grounded. I feel connected when I'm in Wisconsin. So between Milwaukee, where I grew up, Madison, where I went to college, and some of the surrounding areas, it's really beautiful, especially in the summer. The winter's beautiful too, but you got to have some thick jackets to make it through the winter. And then also Washington, D.C., which is where, as you noted in the introduction, I launched Future Caucus, and a lot of the ideas I've formed and platforms I have to change our political discourse are based in DC. And then finally, Los Angeles. I do believe that culture is upstream from politics, and more than ever, storytelling is needed to be an empathy machine in our society. And so the opportunity to influence TV shows and films and other forms of pop culture, as we do with Bridge Entertainment Labs, is largely rooted out of Los Angeles. So those three areas.
So as you're observing your older self that's on the move,
Mhm.
between these three locations that are very important to you, what is it that you are most proud of in 2035?
I think I'll be most proud of building not maybe one or probably a set of media platforms that intersect between our politics and our culture and help to normalize the idea of electric bridge building conversations, conversations that help to create a permission structure, not just among leaders, but among the citizenry, to have conversations across our lines of difference
Mhm.
and to dispel the notion that they're boring or they're conversations that remove our sense of identity or a set of principles. I have a joy from having bridge building conversations. I still remember the night before, so I ran for US Senate in Wisconsin, and the night before the election, I was running as a Democrat, and we were canvassing and came across two citizens of Wisconsin with red MAGA hats on. And I remember thinking at the time that I love these conversations, and I went into it. I was with someone who does not like those conversations and couldn't wait to remove herself from that. But long story short, we had a really productive conversation where we agreed on a number of things,
Mhm.
but also I pushed back on a few other things and ultimately built a relationship. And they said, you know what, tomorrow we're going to vote for you. And I really enjoy those conversations. I want a platform where I can share that joy with people. So I think I'd be proud to have hopefully shared that joy through a set of platforms with people so they can have fun and enjoy conversations across our difference, not only because it's important for our country, but it's actually good for our personal health too.
So I want to pull back just a little bit because you're talking about here kind of work accomplishment, professional accomplishments that you're proud of. Is there anything of a maybe more personal nature that you would be proud of in 10 years?
Well, in addition to hoping that I have produced some children on this planet, which would be uh, definitely bring a lot of joy to my parents as well as to me. Um, yeah, I'm a very like purpose and mission driven person, and definitely have been for the last uh,
Mhm.
10 years. And I hope to have created a person.
This is your preferred future. Declare it to be so.
Yes, I uh, look forward to being involved in things that I think are important, that are impassionate, that I'm passionate about, that are close to my heart,
Mhm.
and having a close circle of friends and partner and hopefully kids that bring joy to life every day. And I'm also an artistic soul. I've music was my first love in life, and so I look forward to having a rock band that goes on tour sometime in the next 10 years too.
It's so funny. You were kind of reading my mind there because I was like, I think there's something in the future that you can be proud of around a saxophone or maybe some other instruments.
Yes, yes, I know. Saxophone gets kind of thrown out there sometimes because the infamous Bill Clinton moment. For me, actually, it's guitar and drums and singing, and I
Okay.
love playing in a band. And I love in fact, playing in bands was my inspiration for the work that I do
Mm,
today and the mission I have. So yeah, hope to find some like-minded musicians and we can tour the world together.
awesome. Well, let's kind of maybe walk through a typical day. You're on the move. You've got three cities, so we're going to pick one city for your typical day. We've got some accomplishments that you're proud of, in addition to a partner and some kids and some music in your life. How do you spend your typical day?
I would start with a mindful meditation and an early morning run. I would say, like anywhere I travel, I just love kind of almost getting a physical feel of where my surroundings and where I am. So I do that. I would hopefully then, spend a few hours on some kind of project or mission that I'm involved in, and definitely be getting like all three meals a day, which sometimes I'm not as good at doing that. And then, yeah, I would say some kind of outdoor activity, some kind of music, and if I'm close to water, that's always a good thing. And then time with family and hopefully kids.
And sounds like a restful night's sleep too is included in
Yes.
that. I'm hearing a lot of soul fulfilling activity in your
hmm
day that allows for restful sleep.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. A lot of soulful activity. And I think I've learned in my life that it's not so much about the quantity of hours of sleep, it's more about the quality of it.
Mhm.
And I can definitely go like if I have 4 or 5 quality hours of sleep, I sometimes find that if I've slept for even 7 to 8 hours, but I wasn't in the right mindset and it wasn't in the right surroundings,
Mhm.
that's less good than 5 quality hours. So I think you're right that the soulful work would probably lead to quality rest too.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. So let's make it so.
yes.
Let's make it so. This is your preferred future. And in 2035, as you're looking at your older self, how will you feel most of the time?
Fulfilled, purposeful, balanced, and loved.
Those are some really good feelings.
Yes. And I think the balance one is interesting because I think the universe, to get a little spiritual here, I think the universe operates on balance, and it's something that we're always searching for, seeking, and as you talk about the professional and the personal, if those two can harmonize together, I think you have a greater chance of um, achieving balance in life. And I think also for me, like I exist in very disparate spheres. I think my body is attuned to that, whether it's left brain and right brain activities, or whether it's like very artistic and vulnerable spaces, or very um, executive and like political spaces.
Mhm.
And so I think all of that gives me balance and the more that I can harmonize between these seeming opposites, I think I feel a greater sense of balance.
Yeah, well, it's almost like that the yin yang,
That's
uh,
how I think about it. Yes.
yeah, that comes in that is like we're not whole until we're together,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, as you're looking at your self in 2035, what can you identify as your three or maybe five priority values or qualities, if that's an easier word?
Hmm. And the qualities in what sense? In myself?
So, So yes, for your older self, what are the values or qualities that you might I be able to identify that you live your life by?
Open-mindedness is something that's really big for me. Um, I would say being grounded, um, having that sort of zest for life. Like, I think that zest comes from having a purpose and having a mission. And then being able, yeah, I think like integrity is really important. I have a very high risk tolerance, and I think that actually goes hand in hand with having a deep sense of integrity too, because I will do some pretty crazy things to like stick to my integrity and convictions in life. And I know that as you get older, there's a lot of pressures on your life, whether that's from family or society, or you've seen more, and so you, in some cases, become more uh, maybe less risk tolerant. And so I hope I'm still um, like very committed to the vision that I have for humanity and for our society, and still willing to sort of take the big swings in life.
Yeah. Yeah, as you talk about this, and the high tolerance for risk, which I'm one of those people as well. I have found that the vision, when it's worth it, is also worth the risk. And I
Yeah,
so I resonate with that part of your assessment about like high tolerance for risk is because there's a big vision out there that's worth it.
yeah, yeah. Quick story that comes to mind that sort of I think politics in general forces people to confront a number of ethical challenges and confront their core principles in life, which is why I always say, if you haven't figured out like what your core convictions are as a person before getting into politics, good luck. Because once you're in it, especially if you're in electoral politics, you're going to lose your soul very quickly. And I see people who've done that. But towards the end of our US Senate campaign, we had a big breakthrough moment with our Senate debates and finally had the kind of platform we needed to get our message out there. So we're kind of riding high. And then suddenly the party starts shutting down the primary by pressuring, incentivizing, pushing candidates out to say, okay, it was great when you thought you had a real primary election. We're now going to turn the switch off and actually get behind, violate our bylaws, by the way, and get behind one establishment candidate.
Right.
I got the phone calls from the party leaders or senior US senator, et cetera, sort of explaining why they're breaking their promises and why things are shutting down. And a lot of people reached out saying because a number of other candidates had just left the race, and so the attention turned to us, asking us, "So are you going to be leaving the race?" And um, to me, it actually wasn't a hard decision to stay in, even though there were a number of incentives to get out. And the reason why it was easy to stay in is twofold. One, I knew why I was running in the first place, and these party leaders weren't going to take us off that track. And secondly, I had met a number of people on the campaign trail who had described how our campaign had led them to believe in our system of democracy again, to believe in a campaign, like believe that there's a positive vision for something instead of just voting against something. And hearing from even Republicans on the other side of the aisle who were going to vote for their first Democratic campaign ever in life for the first time in 20 years. And actually most touching was we were doing these shows around the state and musical. Like I was sitting in with bands, and I played in a band with a guy who had been formerly homeless and had told me he had never voted for anyone before in his life, and he was in his mid 40s.
Yeah.
And he said, "I'm going to vote for the first time for your campaign." And I remember being 18 years old and voting for Barack Obama for my very first vote in life and what that means. And he stemming from that vision of we're not red states or blue states, we're the United States, that's something that means something for me. And so for someone else to say, I'm going to be casting my first vote for you because I believe in your vision and your principles, how can I take that away from people? Like I was going to stay on the ballot, and I know it was like politically maybe like not the best thing to do from a principle standpoint. It was the right thing to do, and I was really honored to be on the ballot and give something for people to vote for.
So I had a similar experience when I ran for a county supervisor seat 20 plus years ago.
Mhm.
And when I lost the primary, so first of all, every candidate helps shape the issues that are talked about, right? So you got to shape issues that were discussed because you're there. And the one that I introduced was clean air because in the Central Valley of California where I was running, clean air was an issue. It still is. But I managed to successfully at least get that into the forefront. And then after I lost in the primary, I had two different special interest groups who are typically opposed to one another, both come and subtly threaten me if I endorsed one of the other two candidates.
Yeah.
It was incredible to watch like how the machinations are happening behind the scenes and knowing what it takes to hold your integrity through that process. And so I'm with you there that for the integrity to hold, you have to know what you stand for. And so that's a great value to add to your 10-year older self that you have already today. Well, I want to flip this around just a little bit because this next question is, as you're thinking about your preferred future life in 2035, and you actually have three communities. You have LA, you have Wisconsin, and you have Washington, D.C. I want you to think about and identify what the community that supports your future life include or provide for you so that your life is possible.
Yeah, I like to say that it's good to have a close inner circle, or as I like to sometimes say, your entourage, which is a reference to that TV show. And so, yeah, I think it's important. The core of it is to have a really close inner circle of people you love and trust, and
Yeah.
can also hold you on, keep you honest, and hold you accountable too. So that's probably the first thing. And I think second is having a very vibrant artistic community that I'm a part of, which is free-spirited and creative and musical and can keep my mind really open and then the third is having a vibrant sort of I guess I'd call it like a change making community who are doing really creative and interesting things to make the world a better place and people who have a sense of mission and then if I had to add a fourth I'd probably say a good intellectual community that's intellectually diverse and also a group of
Mhm.
people who are deep thinkers and can really push my thinking. And I think in all four of those spaces, being with people who are better at things than I am, like people who can really push me to be better at my craft as a leader, as a speaker, as a storyteller, and as an artist. Yeah.
Well, and I just want to point out here, like some of the answers that I get to this question are, I need to have diversity in my neighborhood. I need to have grocery stores and entertainment and restaurants within walking distance. And so it was really interesting to hear you like think about like what your soul and your intellectual stimulation needs. So
Wow.
there's almost like an assumption that like your basic needs are covered.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think definitely need basic needs covered. Access to healthy food and stuff. One reason I like being on the move is because there are and potentially on the moon is that there are different lifestyles, cuisines, and I like being exposed to those different things and thinking about different ways to live a healthy life. But surely having access to uh, local and clean food and having, pretty much everywhere I've lived, I've had access somehow to physical activities. Sometimes it's like an actual gym, or sometimes it's a park, just a place or like a lake, somewhere where I could be doing physical activity regularly. Um, yeah, so those are important too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and building communities that provide these things for us to live healthy lives,
Yeah.
I think is really essential. So we're down to the last question. And and this one is really where I want you to talk a lot about what you're doing now because you are such a change maker. We've known each other for years. But thinking about what is it that you're doing now and that you'll continue to do in the near future that will influence or co-create that community that will support your preferred future life.
Well, I seem to so I have these passions around electrifying our political discourse, bridging divides in our country, and creating music, and finding and then media platforms to talk about what's going on in our country. So I think I'm sort of co-creating a few efforts right now in those different verticals. One is, as you referenced earlier, Bridge Entertainment Labs, which is focused on the culture and storytelling aspect of it. I am active with the Schwarzenegger Institute, as you mentioned earlier, which is focused particularly on political reform and changing our political dialogue so we can, as I like to say with Arnold, terminate polarization. Um, and then for music, I have a sort of band in development right now. We're hoping to take the next step very soon, but just being part of jam sessions and things like that are great for co-creating music. And then I'm also on the media side doing political commentary, and I co-host a show out in DC from time to time, a news commentary show. So yeah, I think I'm finding these different avenues to and everything, and nothing is by myself. I like that you use the word co-create, which is a regular part of my vocabulary too. Like all of these projects are in co-creation with other people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think and one of the thing I'm really reaffirming through in this time of uncertainty that we are living in right now is that the future that we want to live is going to be with others. We have to do it together. So whether it's, figuring out how to agree with people that we disagree with today and do it in a way that builds relationship instead of rips them apart,
Yeah.
so that we can have a future that doesn't suck.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
right now
I
that's a pretty low bar.
I got to share one of the best examples from this past weekend of what you're talking about, which is the band Oasis reuniting. These two brothers, Noel and Liam Gallagher, who've been at each other's throats for decades and haven't played music together in 16 years, finally found a way to show up on stage together and create a kind of electricity and happiness for not just the 70,000 plus people in the arena where they're performing in the UK, but for millions of people around the world who love that music. And the key line in one of their songs called Acquiesce, in the chorus, it says, "We need each other because we believe in one another." And, these two brothers are singing different parts of that song. And obviously, that's a musical example, but I think it's a good metaphor for all of us.
Well, and I would posit that the brothers actually needed each other,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they got stuck on some stupid loop of righteous indignation or self-righteousness
Yeah.
instead of choosing the relationship over being right,
Absolutely.
you know.
And they both had fine solo careers, but it's not the magic of both
Right.
of them together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Stephen, thank you so much. I do want to end the interview with just a quick invitation, and that is to spend a few minutes a day, maybe 5 minutes a day, thinking about this future vision that we just created for you of your preferred life and feel those feelings
Mhm.
that we identified early on and picture yourself living that life and drop in a little bit of awe and wonder. And this
Mhm.
is like a magic formula. It's like alchemy. because even 5 minutes a day thinking about what you want with awe and wonder helps our neurology, it's neuroscience, start to make those choices that bring it about. We do
Mm.
co-create our future based
Mm.
on what we think about and where we put our attention. So that's
Wow.
my invitation for you and for everyone out there in Terrified Nation. Let's make it the world we want it to be and co-create that rather than choosing from the dystopian options that are being presented today.
Yes, yes.
And if you would like to participate, listeners, dear listeners, if you would like to participate in this national research project, you can go to americanfuture.us and click on the Share Your Story button. Again, thank you, Steven, for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
And in closing today's show, I want to thank you, the listeners of Terrified Nation, for giving a damn about our country. We may be a terrified nation today, but we can do better. We can save the USA. Join me next time.
That's Terrified Nation, a podcast from American Future. If this episode moved you, please help others find it. Leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. For early access to new episodes, become a paid subscriber at terrifiednation.com. Join us next time.